Government Relations and Communications Committee meeting. We have a brief but packed half hour, so we wanted to get started as soon as possible. As far as introductions go, I want to make sure we always acknowledge our student representative, Jack Hughes, our teacher representative, Amy McNally. Lydia Solomon will be along shortly, she said. My co-chair, Chuck Madden, third committee member, Sarah Dunn, Mr. Batchelor, our superintendent, and we'll wind up with our administrative liaison, Mr. Michael Petiti, who could, how do you like that segue, right into administrative remarks?
Yes. So, an update on our resolutions that they passed, the board passed, are school safety, regarding school safety, and opposing SB2, PA SB2, which was Education Savings Account vouchers. Both passed on April 24th, and they were distributed via mail and an email in some cases to, let's see, our local reps, so Charlton, Vitale, and Leach, Governor Wolf, the chairs of the PA Senate Education Committee, so Eckelberger and Dinneman, the House Education Majority Minority Chairs, so Representative Hickelnell and Representative Roebuck, the Majority Minority Chairs of the Appropriation Committees for the House and Senate, so that's Representatives Saylor and Markosek, and Senators Brown and Hughes, through Penlink, and also through PSBA. So we've had some nice dissemination, I'd say, of those resolutions, and so good news there. Secondly, in admin remarks, legislation to watch. We are taking a look at Senate Bill 1137, which is sponsored by Scavallo. You all recall that Scavallo was the senator who, prior to the amendment, going through the election process last November, had come out and pretty much admitted that the plan all along was to introduce legislation, which he's done in 1137, further providing for expansion of the homestead exclusion, which would, quote, provide for the imposition of a statewide personal income tax, authorize the imposition of a personal income tax or an earned income tax by a school district subject to voter approval, and provide for school property tax exclusion and make repeals. So the last action on that bill was referred to finance on April 23rd, 2018. So keep an eye on that. And then secondly, SB 1078, which is sponsored by Tomlinson, which would allow safety and security measures to be discussed in executive session. So what I believe that is it would exclude discussion about school safety from the Sunshine Law, and that was last referred to state government, I believe after 126-1 vote in the House on April 19th. I believe that might be all that I have for admin remarks. Let me just check. Oh, actually, no, excuse me, answer to public comment. There's a question regarding how this public communication survey was developed. Regarding the length, content, and duration of availability, the survey was based largely on the parent and staff communication surveys conducted last spring, which allows for improved data analysis and consistency across surveys. The board was not involved in drafting the questions.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Michael, for that great update on multiple points of information for our committee. At this point, I'd like to open up public comment for those of you who have come out and want to share public comment with us. Please make sure you've signed in at the table, and please limit your comments to 4 minutes or less. Thank you.
Yes, hello. My name is Chip Layfield. I live in Wayne, and I want to speak on the, I looked at the chart that was produced comparing MediaCast to YouTube, and I think hands down YouTube is a better platform for the citizens, the taxpayers. It's very accessible, and I think it would be a great benefit to school board members as well, so that they can easily view meetings. In the past, the MediaCast has had a problem with Silverlight, I think it was called, and they had other proprietary software that Apple will not handle, so you couldn't see it on your iPhone, couldn't see it on your iPad. Overall, the township, in my view, kind of creates the gold standard for communication, government communications, and it's not just YouTube. So what you have is a communication platform that would, in your case, would be your educational channel and you would integrate that with the YouTube. So you have live TV shows that would stream on the government channel, your educational channel, and then pre-recorded shows could be uploaded and stored, archived on the YouTube. They hold all that stuff up there for you. And if you want to keep a copy, I would recommend moving over to a cloud-based system instead of having gigabyte upon gigabyte of video, and those services are available. For me, the big issue is, when I look at the channel, it's really gone backwards from where it used to be. We used to have a really dynamic student TV, which I mentioned last time I came here. Students would go out, they would do newscasts, they would interview commissioners, go out in the community, follow things. None of that is broadcast out on your educational channel. And I think if you looked at it as a communication platform, that you really reach the community, the vast majority of the people that pay for this place and everyone's wages, so that they can see what you're doing. Should be the goal, is to communicate. And I don't feel that really has been the goal lately. And I looked at that chart, and I thought it was embarrassing. It was just really subpar. I don't think it was a very good comparative analysis of what the issues really are. So as you move forward, I think, look at your township, talk to the township, see what they do. They're able to do the whole thing with one guy, and they go out and they do meetings with the manager. They go out into the community. They just put up a facility upstairs so they can broadcast live from there if they want to. And I noticed in your letter, you mentioned that you want to go out and do live hookups in different places. That's really a function of the cable contract, which is up right now. So that you could have a live hookup right here, where we used to have one at the township garage, the library, Willows, wherever. So it's a matter, you should have somebody on that communications board. And as part of the contract, you say, we want to have a live hookup here, we want to be able to do it at the different schools. And that's negotiated, and that's how it happens. So I encourage you, what you said about going out and having a bigger presence, I think is important. And the web is important because not everybody has cable. Some people use Dish, some people don't have it. So it's really how you communicate. It's the face of the school for most people that don't have kids in the school. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Layfield, appreciate it. You have the right audience here, given our technology director and communications director are here. Any more public comment this afternoon? Good afternoon.
Stephanie Sherry, Governor's Circle. By the way, regarding that survey, my question was, did the board review the questions before they went out, and why the April 27th deadline? Those weren't answered. It's great to send out your resolution to different people. That's fine, but what's the response? Did you ask for a response? Do they agree with the resolution? What actions are they going to take as a result of the resolution? I'd like to hear back, where are these elected officials on things that you would bring to their attention? So, sending it out is a good thing, I guess, but getting an answer is really what's important. My first comments refer to the minutes from April 17th and the 4.2 recommendation to move the resolution about school safety against arming school employees to the full board. Why didn't members of this committee speak up at the April 24th business meeting to allow public comment before the final vote on the resolution, since it was changed significantly by the board during the meeting? Why would you agree with a narrow and questionable view by your solicitor and sit silent? Why do you view public participation as an inconvenience? Why do you think you know best and that the public wastes your time? And my second comment is on update on live streaming. I'd like an answer to that, really, because there was no reason not to allow for public comment. The resolution changed in two significant ways. I think a lot of people felt it was for the better and was a good change, but maybe somebody else would see something that might be added to it to make it that much better at the meeting. So, update on live streaming study. If the board wants to accomplish, I looked up your goals. Here they are. its proposed 17-18 goals of ensuring that website content is accessible and working with community members to raise awareness and generate advocacy, it should, 1, make sure that the server it uses has widespread user familiarity and knowledge of how to operate. 2, no need for users to install software. And 3 is more device friendly. Finally, 4, no fee. Since these are attributes of YouTube, the choice of YouTube is a no-brainer. Do you agree? Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
Roberta Winters, I would just like to reinforce if there's a way we can work with the township and perhaps with Wagner Studio 21 to get any of our communications closed captions, whether it's YouTube or whatever the channel is. I think we have so many people who really need that service if they're going to engage in public participation and become informed about what's happening in our community. Thank you. That's really a priority that I've heard from many people, and maybe there are people in the room who can help us.
Thank you, Dr. Winters. And I see one more public commenter approaching. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Cindy Turtle, Wayne. Just reinforcing a lot of the comments. When you had said that the resolutions were mailed out, my first thought was, what are the responses, or do you do it return receipt? How do you know they received them? Is there already a follow-up program procedure to follow so you're sure as to receipt of these resolutions to all the people you mail to, and what are their responses and what are they going to do? In comment to the not being allowed to give public comment to the draft resolution on arming school employees, I think my first thought was that our solicitor works for the district and the board do not work for the solicitor, and I would think that if the passion was there, that it would be important if you really cared about what the public was saying, that you would have had a lot of time for public participation, which you did not. And just to reiterate, the first thing I did was circle on the MediaCast versus YouTube was currently no fee, and once again, I would think that would be a no-brainer. And in so many things that have been brought up in the past, not necessarily communications, but in the other committees that I sit in on, it appears that there isn't a whole lot of cooperation or work between, and there may be, but the picture I'm getting between the township and the school district, where there are areas where you can work together. And once again, they do have a great system over there, and Jim's an excellent individual who I know if you reached out to him would definitely work with. The district, I'm trying to fine tune their communications platform. Thank you.
Thank you. So, with the conclusion of public comment, I'd like everybody to let me know if they're okay with last month's minutes. Go down the road, Mrs. Solomon.
Yeah, I think they're fine.
Mr. Madden? Yep, great, okay. And let's move into agenda item number 1. Mr. Petiti will walk us through an update on the website accessibility and RTSD.org project.
So, just a little background on the website and how we got to where we are at this point. Part of the communication survey that we did a year ago around this time was to take a look at our website. And this was around the same time that we received a complaint from the Office of Civil Rights to attend to could be accessibility issues on our website. And by accessibility, we mean, I'll talk about this a little later on, but we mean having people that might be hard of visual impairment issues and mobility issues get on the website just as easily or just as functionally as someone without those issues. So in addition to that, we wanted to take a look at how can we make the website more streamlined, consistent, and organized. And we learned through this survey that people do get most of the information on the district from our website, and that is a very important source of information, and we do want to attend to the information we post on the site. We also learned some ways we can improve, which you'll see in the sample comments The PowerPoint that everyone has here has been updated today. I added a couple slides at the end, which will address some of the streaming stuff that was brought up in public comment. So the next slide is where we're talking about website accessibility, and then it's the law. So Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act prohibit discrimination against people with disabilities. These laws mandate that people with disabilities be afforded equal access regardless of disability to programs and services provided by public entities, including public schools receiving federal funds. So you can take a look at what that means and what that means we should have in place on our website. On slide 2. When it comes to our involvement with the Office of Civil Rights, it began in February 2017 when we were contacted, letting us know that we got to take a look at our website and get some things in order in terms of compliance with accessibility standards, and we need to do that by November 2018. So over that course of time, the Communications Department series of steps to attempt to bring us into compliance per the agreement with OCR. The trainings that you see here will continue and have to continue per the agreement well after December 31st. In fact, they need to go through all the way of 2018, so November 2018 they need to be continuing. So we've already continued with supporting our curriculum department, our HR department, our members of our alumni groups with their websites, and members of our PTOs, and others. So we're going to continue to roll out those trainings and making sure that people understand what's now needed for website accessibility compliance. What is important to know is that website accessibility is never done. So there's never a point in time where we're going to reach November 2018 and we can just say we're accessible. We don't have to attend to this. Per the guidelines from OCR, we have to continually, and the disclaimer that I'll show you in a minute, we have to continually make sure that we are adding content, and the content we do add is accessible. And some of those ways that we have to make sure are described here. So, you know, just small things that it's just important to show, and we go through them all, but, you know, as simple as color can be used to denote a specific event. So, for example, red can't denote middle school events only, because if you use red against green and somebody is colorblind, they won't know what's at the middle school and what's at the elementary school. So there's small things like that that we have to attend to throughout the website, ongoing. Here's the new disclaimer that was added to the website in recent months because of the agreement with OCR. Draw your attention to the last paragraph here, where you'll see it highlighted again that ongoing mandate I was talking about. Because we offer the ability for users to file complaints if they encounter some obstacle, and that will obviously be on our website ongoing, so they can always make sure they let us know if we're having an issue. So in terms of RTSD.org next steps, we want to make sure that we not only continue to meet the ongoing accessibility mandates, but we want to consider developing a refresh plan for our site. So best practice really says, depending upon industry, but generally 3 to 5 years for website refresh. And our website was last redesigned in February of 2015. So it will be 4 years, next February. So we're going to want to take a look at, do we want to look at trends? Do we want to look at more going mobile? A lot of our research showed in surveys that people are accessing it mostly via phone. So do we want to look at the solution that's more mobile friendly? It all goes to what Mr. Layfield and others were talking about, that the video distribution that we do, it goes well beyond what happens in this room. It's the general philosophy throughout the district, how we want to approach making video and other information available, and what kind of resources we want to put into doing those things. So, any questions before I move on to the streaming portion of the presentation?
I have a question. You may not know this answer off the top of your head, but when you refer to the complaint that we received from OCR,
Yes.
can you be more specific about what that was referring to?
OCR does not specify what exactly they, was informed to them what was wrong, quote unquote, with the site. You just receive a general letter that says, we've received a complaint and we are now conducting an investigation into the website.
Really? They don't give you any idea what section of your website might have been problematic?
No, I mean, we are tasked. I've been assigned an auditor to be the auditor for this project, and I'm tasked to go through the entire website and determine what's wrong.
Makes sense. They just want to upgrade the website. Somebody complained about it. Make sure it's compliant.
Well, so no, I think that's a problem, because you're not a person with a disability, so how would you actually know what is the piece that's problematic?
Yeah, there are, let me go back. There are level AA compliance standards. So there's general standards that are in place that you can reference back to make sure that you're meeting those standards. There's level A, AA, and AAA compliance. We have to meet level AA compliance. And these are just some level AA compliance standards.
So can I ask, Dr. Winters brought this up a couple times, the closed captioning issue. If we have videos on our school district website, does the ADA, does the compliance with the OCR guidance require us to have closed captioning on those videos?
We need to attend to the closed captioning as part of the project. That we are aware that that is part of the mandate, and that we'll have to attend to that.
So that's something we should expect to be in place by November?
I think we can get extensions. OCR's are really good. They have been, as you maybe saw on one of these slides, there's been hundreds of these complaints that just school districts are grappling with. TE, naming one, LM, another. So they've been great with extensions. So if we do have to look at the closed captioning, get it in place, but it might not necessarily be November 2018 if we have to attend to other things in the website compliance area. Because there are still some steps we need to take in the next 5 months or so, maybe 6 months.
Okay, I mean, personally, I can't speak for everybody. It would be my preference, since we've been asked this a number of times, not to push that off as something we get an extension for. I mean, I think if we have a large number of members of the community who are having trouble viewing our videos, I mean, the whole point of having them is to make them accessible. So to the extent we can do that within the time frame we've been originally allotted, I think that would be my preference. I don't know what all the barriers are, but it seems like I'm sure there are a lot.
There are a good amount. That's kind of one of the.
I know there are, but I also think it's been something we've known about for a while. So to the extent we could move that up on the priority list, that would be helpful.
Jack and Amy, do you have questions? No. Can you just repeat for me really quickly, Michael, when was the last time we did a refresh of our website?
February of 2015.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there are no other questions.
I just have
okay.
a couple. So, if we're putting our meetings up, would they also have to subtitle, closed captions?
Technically everything that goes on the website should be able to be accessible to someone who would have a visual impairment, or in that case, a hearing impairment. So yes, we would have to have, we do have to work on, which Mr. Lingus has done, getting closed captioning for our videos. It's a large undertaking, because you have to remember, we don't just have board meeting videos, we have all the videos that Mr. Layfield mentioned on our YouTube channel. We have all the videos that students currently create. None of the, as far as I know, there's things need to put into place to produce closed captioning on videos. If we don't have that technology in place, we will need to purchase this, install it, teach people how to use it. So yeah, there's more to this than just flipping a switch and saying, let's have closed captioning now.
Definitely. But as we move into this, we have the finance piece, we have the budget that we're talking about. This is something that we're going to do. It would be helpful to come back and get some ballpark figures. Is it done any place? Are there any districts that do it? Maybe if you could get your auditor for your compliance to share with you someplace.
It's actually me. It's actually me. I'm the auditor.
Oh, you're the auditor. Well, you can talk to yourself about it.
But I could certainly reach out to others to ask about this project and how they may have handled closed captioning.
And we do have in the audience, Mr. Layfield is in my opinion, an expert in this field, seriously. I've known him for quite a long time, and he's produced many different things here, has been one of the stars of our community with our cable network, seriously, with the public channel, with everything else. And we have resources right here, because we keep saying that. There are people in Radnor that can help us. Well, there's one sitting right there. And I know he's community-minded, so he's a guy we can have.
Okay, and
I know where he lives, too.
let's segue then into the next item on our agenda, which is the update on the live streaming study.
Yes. So I don't need to build so much suspense, but I'm going to be able to answer everybody's problems or issues right now. So that's the great news. Everybody's issues. Well, let's clarify.
All in.
Let's clarify regarding the
Dr. T is
YouTube
in the house.
MediaCast situation. Let's specify that. Okay, so the grid that we looked at that was originally on your the original PowerPoint, that was an update of this grid, which you don't see that in your original PowerPoint because this grid was meant to be an animation, and animations do not print into your PowerPoint. So I was going to try to do something nice and show everybody how we changed, but you couldn't really see that until I actually presented the presentation. So here is the grid from August 2016, when we first kind of started taking a look at MediaCast versus YouTube. Okay, and here is the one we just has been shopped around. So you'll see that in our investigations, much of the cons, some of the cons of MediaCast kind of went away, some of the pros went away, and some of the cons were added on to YouTube. Now, this was just to show you that we did research along the way and how that research impacted where we're going to go. And you'll see the red asterisks are just things that kind of changed along the way as well in terms of the cons. So those asterisks don't necessarily mean that those are still cons. They mean that that's not really necessarily true anymore. We've learned along the way over a year and a half. And so we've been able to kind of maybe change some of the way we look at these pros and cons. And to show you all that we've learned, I wanted to make sure that we listed every time, at least that I have in our records, that we discussed this issue. So the first time I said it came up again was August of 16. That was the grid everyone just saw. And then from September 16 to June of 17, we kind of focused on our goal of the communications policy. So that's kind of why, over that period of time, the video streaming project didn't take as much precedence. But we were still discussing it in admin remarks since January 17, September 17, October, November, December. It was an agenda item. You'll see here, I don't need to go through it all. This has been something that we've been investigating, with regularity for a year and a half. So, I do think it needs to be clarified that we're aware of what YouTube can offer. We're aware of the YouTube service and the inner workings of YouTube. Our director of technology is very competent with our services, and we feel that the next step we're going to take is going to take us even to the next level, which is going to YouTube, beginning August 2018. And I can take you through how we got there. So currently we're live streaming for MediaCast, and that expires June of 30, and that's for $5,500 a year. And the DCIU, you may not be aware, but DCIU has a contract with MediaCast to help us stream and store our videos. The DCIU is not going to renew their contract, so we recommend not renewing ours for MediaCast. That would take us to, well, then how do we do with our videos? Well, as you all know, over the past 6 months, we've been beta testing YouTube streaming with that laptop right over there on the windowsill. So from January, the last slide said from January to today, we are streaming simultaneously to YouTube and to MediaCast. We needed an encoder to do that. We needed a Wirecast is the name of the company. A lot of casts here, Wirecast and MediaCast, but this is Wirecast. We needed that to install to have been able to allow us to stream to YouTube. We believe that with an upgrade to our computer, which you'll see here under plan moving forward, with an upgrade to our computer, which is 6 years old, it lives in that unit you see over there where Ms. Hanley is sitting. We believe that we can get a new version of Wirecast installed, we can use all the current equipment, and we can stream to YouTube using equipment we already own. and moving from that laptop directly to the YouTube system. That investment will cost about $3,200 to just upgrade the computer, to get new drivers installed, which are like kind of help video production. And regardless of renewing VideoCast, we would need to upgrade the equipment because we would need to, if we were going to just use this laptop, we would need to buy a new computer. We would need to buy new audio to better use that laptop. So again, the hope is that once we have some time to test, because we want to, this is going to be down. This unit over here is going to have to be updated and to use the new Wirecast software. So we're going to have a period of time where we're going to need to kind of be down, so we want to do that between meetings and have some time over the summer, since we're not going to, I think we've had meetings in July, perhaps, to work on the YouTube solution from our current equipment and hopefully begin in August 2018. Now, there's other considerations, and I know we're going a little bit longer here, but it's important to note, very important to note, that we should consider strongly developing a retention policy. You know, currently our videos are stored and streamed via the DCAU, as I mentioned. So they are storing all of our videos. Dr. McCook has reached out and they have said, you know, after their contract is up, they'll still store and stream for us archive videos, but not indefinitely. So at some point we're going to need to move our videos to a storage solution in-house or on the cloud, and also we're going to decide how long back do we want to upload our videos to YouTube. Because right now YouTube doesn't house our archive videos. So someone is going to manually have to take the files from the DCAU and import them into YouTube. And we're going to decide, do we want to go back 2 years, 3 years, 4 years into YouTube, or do we want to maybe make physical DVD copies for everything past 3 years? And if you want it, you come to the administration building and you ask for a DVD. So we're going to have to talk through that, and we're also going to talk through, as Mr. Layfield and others mentioned, and as part of our video study, what is our general video philosophy here in the district? What do we want to do in terms of the offerings we give? Do we want to look into live TV from the sidelines? Do we want to look into streaming from other buildings? You know, this goes well beyond just solving how we put committee meetings online.
Comments, anybody? Sarah?
It would seem to me, as to the archiving piece, that that's something that our solicitor should be able to tell us. I'm assuming the right to know laws and Sunshine Act, that there's some kind of requirement for how far back we maintain them and make them available.
They're not legal. We can look into it.
We will look into it and make sure we're following that. But yes, but the requirement is minutes and different pieces, but we'll make sure.
So there's not a requirement to make videos available?
I will check. I'm not sure, but I don't believe so. I remember looking into it several years ago. I think the minutes is the requirement. Check.
What about the PSBA doesn't have a recommendation on that?
Might have a recommendation, but some districts don't film them. They don't record them.
Right.
Yeah, lots of them don't record their meetings, and very few of them have like live streaming. So we're kind of on the forefront here.
I'd like to see if our student and teacher representative have any feedback on what they've just heard. No? Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Petiti, in light of the time, and we're bumped up against the next meeting. I think that was an incredibly comprehensive study. I appreciate the timeline. I know personally, from being on this committee, how long you guys have been looking into this. I did want to ask you to mention in closing something else that I think was brought up in public comment earlier about the offerings that we have on our educational channel, because I'm not sure, maybe it's worth repeating, the fact that you are now launching yet another investigation into how RAD TV operates in order to evaluate how it's currently functioning. Do you want to speak for a second on that?
Yeah, I mentioned in a couple meetings back, and I do encourage the people who have missed those meetings. I mentioned in the slide before, there are videos and materials for those meetings. There's one especially going over the entire how video works in the district from maybe 2 or 3 meetings past that I think will be really helpful for those who don't understand the amount of video that's kind of coursing through the district. But yes, the plan was to take a look at how we produce video, and that would include student production through the TV studio.
Great, thank you. So, did you have something else you wanted to say before I see if there could be a very brief?
Yes, okay. I just want to run through real quick about the resolution, since we do spend a lot of time. We do get feedback on those. The one thing that did happen was the fact that Senate Bill 2 did not come out of the Education Committee up for a vote. We can't say that that was a direct cause or resolutions, but there's a mindset out there that yes, it was. There's pressure being put upon the Senate Education Committee not to pull that out, so maybe we had an effect. I'm sure, I'd say, my opinion, yes, we did, okay? And we do get feedback from people when we do send it to them, so that would be the one. And I do agree with the public commenter after the discussion we had about the resolution. If something is substantially changed during that time, that we should have allowed that. We don't have to, but in my opinion, we should have allowed public comment after that. The lawyer said you don't have to. It's not that you can't do it. That would be about it. But the other piece is the township does work with us very well together. We do work very well. You may not see it, but we do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mountain. If there is, could be a very brief, if that's okay, Mr. Bachelor, a very brief closing final public comment, if anybody would like to make one, in light of the fact that there's a big crowd gathering, it sounds like outside. They're gonna bust down the doors in a moment. Would anybody like to make one? No? Okay, well, thank you everyone for taking the time to attend today, and we'll see you next month.